Today I'm going to review this book. It's a graphic novel published by DC Comics, and it's written by Nicole, Maine and Rye Hickman. It follows the backstory of the character Dreamer, is half human, half alien. Her mom is from a planet of aliens that have seers who can see the future in dreams. Spoilers ahead. The story is about how she comes to find that she has this ability, all the ramifications that brings. It usually goes to a woman, and she's trans, so no one thinks that she can inherit the ability. Anyhow, it's a wonderful story. I definitely recommend it. I wanted to share some of my favorite parts, why I loved it so much, and why it matters in and of itself, almost independently from the actual plot. Nicole Maines was the first trans character on TV. She played Dreamer on the CW show Supergirl, and it wasn't that just a transgender actor happened to play a character, rather her character in the show is transgender. I'll admit I haven't seen the show yet, but it's on my long list of things to watch. Reading her story was electrifying. The reason this story mattered so much to me was because it was representation. And you'll hear people talk about representation a lot, but it's kind of hard to tell what it is because it's a pretty vague word, and we should have more movies with trans people, we should have more books with trans people is a very vague statement. So I wanted to kind of ground that into what it actually means as a trans person who hadn't seen themselves in a comic before and then saw herself. I love graphic novels, I love comic books. I'm a huge fan of Marvel and DC, but more often than not, I don't see myself. There are very few Latin Americans in the Marvel world. One of the few was Blue Beetle in the DC world, which I loved. I loved that movie. It was so beautiful to see a Latin American authentically on the screen. And then seeing a trans person, it hadn't even occurred to me. If that's going to happen, I'll have to write that story. But having this story is amazing, and you can't really tell unless you're trans. If you don't think we need more trans stories or more Latin American stories, then you're probably not Latin American, or you're probably not trans, and maybe you're used to being seen. And the idea of having media not represent you is kind of foreign to you. The idea that you'd go to the movie theater and there wouldn't be a character, a main character who represents you, that doesn't even occur to you because it's always there. If you're white, if you're a man, if you're cis, go to the movie theater right now. There's a leading role, maybe someone with charisma, someone who's honest, someone who's good, maybe even someone who's bad and gray and a little bit ambiguous in their morality, but they're the star of the show, and they're there and they look like you, and you're used to that. You're so used to that it's kind of hard to conceptualize that not being the case. However, for me, I'd never seen a trans person in a comic book. It made me so happy. There's these gorgeous images, it really made my heart sing. Then there was another layer to this story. Our main character, Nia, is also an alien. It was really easy, and I don't know if this was intentional or not, it was really easy to see the parallel between an alien and an immigrant. Now, I'm, I think, a 1.5 generation, because my mom was first generation Guatemalan American. I'm second generation, but my dad is Peruvian, so it makes me first generation. Anyway, the point is that regardless of how long my family has been here, and it's been centuries if you just go a bit south to Guatemala or Peru, in the US, I'm seen as an immigrant, whether I like it or not, because of my facial structure, because of my skin. I'm seen as an other. The way I speak confuses people. People assume I have an accent, and when I don't, sometimes I get thrown off. All of these things that leads to people asking me where I'm from, where you're from, go back to your country. All these things come from my face, and it's not something really I can control. I can't explain, well, actually, my mom was born in the US, and yada yada. I'm perceived as an immigrant woman. So having this trans character be an alien, in this case, like literally from another planet, spoke to me. It's the double minority, the triple minority. I'm trans, I'm Latin American, and I'm a woman, and it's 3 things. And I could identify with that because not only is there a prosecution of your race, within that race, culture is probably a more apt description, within that Latin American culture where one would hope to find a certain empathy and unity and togetherness, you don't have that, unfortunately. You have almost, well, I'll be honest, the people that give me the weird looks, the people that misgender me at work, for example, tend to be Latin American or people of color. I think white people are a little afraid of offending. The only person who ever asked me what pronouns was white. But it's this feeling of being othered even within your community. And Nia, the main character, experiences that in the beginning of this book, and I could relate so much to that because, like, even though you're one of the aliens, being trans is a step too far. Even my sexuality was more accepted than my gender, of course. So I could relate a lot to that. Again, spoilers. When she runs away to the big city and she meets other trans people, there's this beautiful moment. One of my favorite parts is when one character says, "Are you defending us because we're trans, because we're aliens?" And then she says, "I'm both. I'm a trans alien." And I could just really identify with that, because sometimes I feel like a trans alien in this country that is ruled by white people. Although I'm in California, so there's a lot of Latin Americans. But again, even though there are a lot of Latin Americans, often even that community won't accept me. So this book just felt like it saw me in a way I haven't really had any other book do. When I read it the first time, I cried. I reread it again. And it introduced me to the ballroom culture, which I've heard of, but having it there actually led me to go to an actual ball here in the Bay Area, and that was amazing because, again, queer culture online, in the media, a lot of it is white people, and it's a certain kind of whiteness. The kind of whiteness that doesn't dance at a party, the kind of whiteness that doesn't offend, the kind of whiteness that isn't really opinionated. And that's queer whiteness. And then seeing this whole other side of Black and Latin was beautiful. When I went to the ball inspired by the book, I'm fairly tall and I was wearing my platform heels, but I was like average height, maybe a little short. There were these gorgeous tall people, and I mention height because sometimes I'll go to a club and I'll be the tallest one there, and I feel a little bit alien. Again, I'm too tall. I'm a girl and I'm too tall. A lot of trans women tend to be tall, but going to this event, first of all, there was like one white person there who looked a little bit uncomfortable, and there was just so much joy and dance and vivacity, and it was beautiful. It was really beautiful. And this little comic book, made by a white trans woman who I appreciate and adore, helped me see my own culture. Even though, she's talking about aliens from other planets, for me, it resonated with my Latinness. I didn't really notice how amazing it is to be seen until I was seen. And now that I was seen, it was just electrifying, and it makes me so happy, and I love this comic book. If you're trans and you're also not white, this is one of the few books where indirectly you can be seen, and it feels so good to see someone on the page and be like, that's me. And I just love this book. It really spoke to me in a beautiful, beautiful way. I definitely recommend it. Plus, I always have weirdly vivid dreams. I keep dreaming that I wake up, I have an experience, and I go back to sleep, and then I wake up. I have lucid dreams. I remember my dreams. My dreams feel really real. I really felt this connection to the dream world. I can't wait for her to write more. Her autobiography is coming out soon. I'd love to meet Nicole someday. She's really inspiring. And although I said, I didn't always agree with the white queerness, not because it's bad, just because I'm not white, it was really beautiful to have her story help me find my own sense of self. And that's something I'm always going to cherish. And I love comic books, and seeing myself was just amazing. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Thank you for being almost at 1,000 subscribers. I'm really, really excited. I'm going to make a video to celebrate. I'll get back to talking more about trans stuff soon. But I also love reading, and I want to share more books and movies and stuff that I enjoy as well. So thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a respectful comment if you like, and I will see you next time.